Hey there, it's Pete with standing in a hole. Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. And man, I had a killer time today at my shop, in my office, where we had kind of what we call a local pickup day, where folks that kind of live around me can come get their supplies for the fall and things like that. Got to meet some really cool people. Man, I was so humbled, so thankful to have those folks come to my place, and I get to shake their hand. We talked Tar Heel basketball, we talked yard stuff, we talked about life, we talked about kids. Man, I just had an absolute blast. Thank you so much to every single one of you that came by. Now look at this. This right here is an ugly yard, right? Now this isn't really a yard, but we're gonna, in our mind, we're gonna pretend it's a yard because I've seen this a million times over in an actual yard around a house, and people say, well, look at my grass. But I don't really call that grass, so we're gonna talk about this right quick. Now for most folks, we're coming into that time of the year where we're thinking about aeration and seeding, slit seeding, power seeding, whatever you want to call it, fertilizing. This is cool season turf, Kentucky bluegrass, fescues, ryegrass, things like that. We're getting ready to come out of summer and kind of go downhill into the fall, and that fescue and all, especially if you're in a hot climate, sometimes that cool season turf don't do all that great. So you need to kind of rejuvenate it and kind of re-bring it back to life, and fall is the perfect time for that. Now something else people tend to do in the fall for cool season turf is a renovation, and that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to actually give you about 4 or 5 different scenarios. Maybe you fit into one of those situations, and maybe it'll help you decide if you want to renovate or not. Now while I'm at it, I just spent a good amount of time updating my renovation guide, okay? It's totally and completely been refreshed. I sent it to my buddy and he formatted it so it looks nice and neat and clean and easy to follow and laid out, because I have no clue what a format is. So I just get him to do that for me, so the guide is updated and fresh. If you have bought that guide in the past, you need to check your email, because I've already sent you it for free. Anytime you buy one of my guides, as long as I'm doing GCI Turf Academy, and anytime I update it, you'll always get it for free. You don't have to pay for it again, and no memberships and nothing stuff. I don't even know where that come from. Well, maybe I said it at one time, but all that's changed now. Yeah, I'm just going to give it to you for free if I ever change it. And typically I don't change it much unless I want to just make it neater and make it more user friendly. So everything in that renovation guide is kind of go over what I'm talking about today, and kind of step-by-step process on how to do it, what to do it, what to buy, where to buy. The timing and everything is in that one guide. It even goes as far as situations like, well, once I do a renovation, and these are kind of some of the downfalls to a renovation. I want to make sure you know what some of the downfalls are, some of the negatives are. A big one is, this is huge, fall of the year, that's when we get into some severe type weather. We're in central North Carolina, and man, we are right in Hurricane Alley during the fall, and last year was an absolute nightmare for us. We had 2 major hurricanes slap dab in the middle of seeding season, so you need to be aware that that could be something that could happen in your renovation, is the weather might whoop your tail. Now here's another thing that is kind of a negative with a renovation. Typically a renovation, you're going to smoke it off and there's nothing left. You're dealing with bare ground. And anytime that big ball of goodness can reach that dirt, the potential for seed germination is there. Meaning your poas, your springtime poas that like to pop up in the springtime, you know, that seed could have been laying there for years, and just never had the opportunity, the perfect chance to germinate. In a renovation, you open up the ground, you smooth out the ground, and all that bare dirt is exposed, and it may just be a time to wake up that stuff. Not to mention any other weeds, okay? That's just part of the process. It's something you have to actually accept and know that it can happen and might happen. Another negative is, you got all that little baby, young, tender grass and you're pumping water to it. What if you get back in a hot spell and you have some disease issues that's going on, where the guide goes into that, tells you what to do to fix it right quick? It's just all kind of things that might go wrong. So not only does the guide tell you what to do, it tells you how to fix things really quickly in case they do go wrong. All right, so let's look right here at this yard, and you can see there's some fescue in here. It is, I call it a yard, but again, this is behind my shop, but we're going to pretend it's a yard because I've seen this a million times. There's not a lot of fescue out here. You see these little dark green patches? Boom, boom, boom. There's not a lot of it. Look at what we do have a lot of, though. Boy, look at that beast right there. Common Bermuda. I'm gonna tell you what, that stuff will grow up the side of that building. I am not kidding you. It is a freaking beast. It's a nightmare. And inside the guide, it's got kind of a special little thing that you need to do in your applications to actually really nip that in the bud. Now here's the stipulation. I've been doing renovations for a long time, and I've come to accept the fact that you cannot permanently kill the stuff. The common Bermuda, at some point, there is a chance that it's going to come back. Now, one thing I can say this, and be honest with you about it, that out of all the renovations we've ever done, I do have renovations that were done years ago that this isn't even there. It's gone completely. And then again, I have renovations where it's come back. So I think it's a lot to do with luck of the draw, but I wanted to make that clear. I've got some crabgrass right here. I've got some broadleaf. I've got some oxalis over there. I've got some plantain over there. There's some orchard grass over here. Some Virginia buttonweed over here. Here's a, ooh, look at this bad boy right here. Look at him. That is Dallas grass. The way you can identify Dallas grass is it's a big fat chunk that'll kind of lay out flat. It's got these big wide leaf blades on it, and then there, that is how you can identify it and get a positive ID on it. It has these big, I don't know what you call it, grasshopper weed looking thingamajiggy. I don't know. That's the seed pods of it. But you can see how they stick up in the air really tall when they're left alone. I don't care how thick and dense you get your fescue, things like Bermuda, common Bermuda, and things like Dallas grass, you will not choke them out. So here's example number one. This is a typical yucky, nasty, ugly yard, and if you come out here and you try to mow this, it's like trying to mow down the side of a mountain. It's so bumpy and so uneven. It's just terrible. It will beat you to death trying to mow it. So if this were my yard, there would be no question whatsoever. I would do a full-blown, full tilt, all-out renovation, power rake, the whole 9 yards, and from start to finish in about 2.5 months, roughly, I could have all of this gone, and I could have a perfectly smooth yard with baby grass coming up. So we're out here at my shop right here, and this is my common Bermuda. So I've got 2 reasons that I want to renovate out here. Number one is it is my desire to have a nice high-end Bermuda grass. That's just my personal choice. I want it out here. So in order to have that, I'm going to get rid of the common first. The second reason is my mowing. When I mow this, you can see this brown, really bad brown. That simply, I mowed this on 3 inches and it's still scalped. That's the severity of this hump. You can't see it on camera, but there's some really bad humps out here and bumps, and I want it smooth enough to be able to reel mow with a reel mower. And this right here's my neighbor's yard. Now she's got a handful of wild grasses, orchard type grass, some other things going on in her yard, but overall the fescue is really good and healthy. It's a non-irrigated yard, and I'm still holding very good color. We've got a little bit of rain here lately. It's starting to stress out just a touch right there, but she's got about 4 or 5 isolated areas of Bermuda. You can see it mixed in right here. Look at that thing. It's mixed in right here around the driveway pipe. There's a couple of spots along the road. There's one spot up there next to the house, and there's a spot kind of right in the middle on the ditch line. I would isolate those areas off and just renovate those single areas of Bermuda, following the guide, the same process. Just don't do the entire yard. Isolate those spots out and you're good. Now I'm gonna really throw you for a loop on this one. This is a 100% turf type tall fescue, completely healthy, super thick, fairly smooth yard to mow. This is my test plot area back here in the back, and when I say non-irrigated, I mean there's no underground irrigation system. You can see I am watering it some with my big sprinkler. That's a jumbo sled over there, just because this corner right here seems to stress out a little bit more than the rest of the place or the rest of this area. So I'm just putting a little extra water on that. So yes, I am planning on doing a full tilt, full blown renovation to this entire area. It goes back behind my little building there, up the side, a little bit down the side down there. And I have 2 reasons that I want to smoke off this perfectly healthy fescue. Number 1 is, you see this ditch line right here? I'm sick and tired of mowing it. If you notice over here in my yard, what I call my yard, right around my house, there is no ditch line. That's because when I renovated this, I filled it in to make it level with the road for a smooth transition. Now, before you jump on board and just go do that and fill in your ditch, you might want to check with your Department of Transportation, because the ditches are there for a reason. They control water and tell water where to go. And I did have a Department of Transportation high-end official come out, make sure that my area was okay to do that, so you would want to do that as well. I've got a valley here, and then it levels off, and then another little valley over there that you guys really can't see on camera, but when I fill it in, I'm going to go from the road. It's going to be completely flat all the way over to my garden, so I'm going to have to bring in quite a bit of dirt to level that up, but that's part of my renovation. The second reason I'm going to renovate this turf is I want a totally and completely different grass type. I want Kentucky bluegrass back here. Install irrigation back here, plant Kentucky bluegrass. It's July 2019. I will start that process in July of 2020. So like and subscribe so you can be sure to follow me on this next year, and I'm going to show you a pro level renovation, how we would actually do it in our lawn care company, and where we come in here, we grade it out, we install irrigation. I'm going to show you how to do all that, plant the seed, water the seed, the whole 9 yards. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to reel mow it with a really cool reel mower I found. Now I'm going to slip over here to my neighbor's yard, and you can see this is 100% junk. 100%. And that's okay. It's his yard. He can do whatever he wants to do. I do not care. But if it were mine and I wanted a nice yard, Renovation, hands down, no question about it. We'll get over here in the shade. It's starting to heat up a little bit again, but I'm not at all advocating that everyone on the planet should do a renovation and start their yard over. No, 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 I'm not saying that. But there are circumstances that where you come out financially, you come out cheaper. Your end result is quicker, faster, better. Everything works better in a renovation in certain circumstances. So it's a big ball of different situations that lead up to me deciding to do these renovations. And you might be in the same boat, but that's your decision. It's your money, it's your time, it's your hard work, it's your yard. You have to decide whether the renovation is right for you. Freaking bug. Hey, be sure and like and subscribe and tell all your buddies. I'm going into 2020. Next year is going to be a big year. Okay, I'd actually made plans to do some of this year, but my schedule is just not going to allow me to do it. Putting some things in place to where I can do a little more video and a little more YouTube work, and I can kind of step away from my business, my local company a little bit more, so that I'll have time to do more of this type stuff I'm doing right now, because I'm having a blast. I absolutely love it. So subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss all this, because I'm going to do some very kind of extreme yard things where we're going to bring in some really cool, high quality products, some cool equipment in doing all this renovation work, and it'll be a chance to learn a whole lot. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I appreciate you. Hey, I forgot to mention something, because I've been getting a lot of emails on this and a lot of questions in my Facebook group and all, is what about the seed? Well, the GCI Turf Type Tall Fescue blend, it's there. It's always been